You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 18th, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Historic Preservation Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I want to call the meeting to order. We'll have the roll call, please.
Joyce Dalton,
Present.
Dan Grenquist,
Here.
Greg Coulter's here, Amy Bowman, Dwayne Hurt, Gigi,
Here.
Lawrence Zimmer,
Here.
and Jonas Zimmerman. So we've got a quorum.
Okay. Did everyone have a chance to look at the agenda? Do we need to make any adjustments? Okay. Everyone have a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. The minutes from the last meeting, has everyone had a chance to look those over?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes as is.
I'll second.
Thank you, you two. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Any correspondence come in, Kyle?
No.
Okay. We will go then to our 920 Franklin Street.
Okay, 920 Franklin Street. This is a continuation of the COA that we had last month. Some of the items were approved, others were given an extension to allow the contractor and the owner to gather more information concerning the cladding, especially, and the possibility of fixing the door. So we are now reviewing those things that we postponed. So that would be the glass, windows, the stainless steel trim, the exterior metal panels, and the front door. So the owner and the contractor have contacted several places, and I don't have it in front of me. But yeah, I thought I did write it down. I guess I didn't. The Kansas Historical Society was a good source of information. They contacted them. We're not able to find anyone who's currently manufacturing the metal, and the people they did talk to said it wasn't maybe of the best quality to begin with. So maybe didn't want to revisit that particular material. They also talked to a metalworking person about repairing the door. It looks like it's going to have to be replicated instead, but using many of the original features of the door that's there right now. So we're looking at what they're asking for now is to use the metal panels, that the cladding system that we looked at last time that was in that box and we passed around, everybody looked at that. That system. The question, I think, is whether or not to use a stainless steel trim and caps for that, which is a pretty defining feature of this building. But that material would have to be specially bent with a metal brake, not your typical siding brake, but a more substantial brake. Could be done though, could be done. We talked about keeping the profile of the crown on that building. It has an angle to it where it comes out from the wall, up at the top of the wall, goes around the building. And so I think that's a very important feature also, that be maintained. And that is possible with bending stainless steel to do that. They're talking about replacing the glass. The glass would be the exact same size as what's there, the finished glass. It's, a process to get it installed in the window, but the glass that you would see would be the same size as the glass that is currently there. So everything would be the same size and profile, but different materials. So they're asking for different materials, the front door to be replicated using as many of the original materials as possible, and the glass to be replaced. So the staff recommendation is approval of replacement of the glass to the exact same size. Also, would like to see that with a stainless steel cap over the metal frame, so it would look like it does now. Approval of the exterior metal cladding system that they proposed at the last meeting. Using stainless steel trim and, if at all possible, reusing any of the existing stainless steel trim. All new cladding on the walls, soffit and fascia would match the existing in size and profile. And then the front door, I'm recommending approval of replicating the door using as many existing materials as possible. Would also ask that staff be able to review the door, the final design of that door before it's installed. So that's my recommendations.
Does anyone have any questions?
You made some recommendations and you say to do something, this or that, if possible. Will that possibility be subject to staff review to verify, so forth?
I think it should be made that way, yes.
But at this time, we know that you've had a discussion with the owner and the contractor, so it is apparently your intention to follow through with the suggestions. So, okay, that's good. And there may at some point, do you have to put together a set of construction documents for the building? Is that part of the permit process? No, because it's all existing. Okay, because that would have been one other way that you would have the chance to see that. Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Then I'd make a motion to approve the staff, to approve the work as recommended by staff, subject to staff review for the various possibilities. Just work together and figure it out.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Now, you're welcome to stay if you want, again, for a few hours. Or if you'd like to go back home, we'll let you. And thank you for coming.
Thank
Since
you.
we've already taken our vote, let me just urge you to look a little more closely about the accessibility issues, because if you're putting in a new door, and I know you're putting in a new window for the walk-up area, the federal standards, in my understanding of them, would require them to be accessible unless there's a strong reason, like a structural problem or whatever. But take a look more closely at that and see, just so that you have made the best effort you can to make sure it's available to everybody. But that's not part of this review. It's just advice for you.
So, all right, thank you.
Keep up the good work. You guys are moving ahead on that. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's really nice for the city here. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, yeah.
Be safe going home.
And Merry Christmas.
Okay, we're going to do to number 2 to the COA for 124 West 4th Street. And it looks like we have no one here.
Okay, 124 West 4th Street, we're also revisiting that one. This is the Ritz Club Tavern, and so they came before us, I want to say in August or September, looking to replace the front of the building moldings and facade design, but they didn't have a material at that time. They were proposing wood, and we didn't think that was the best idea. And so they came back with a new proposed material. Kyle and I looked at it. It is a paintable material. It's a composite. It's non-vinyl. I don't know. I don't have any experience with this particular material, but as long as they use the smooth side of it, I would feel it would be at least as durable as wood, which doesn't hold up very well, especially on the north side of a building.
Right.
So I don't see a problem with it, but it's a fairly new product. So, it doesn't have a track record that we can really look at and say, oh, it's going to last really, really long. But it would look very similar to wood. So they're proposing replacing as is, only with this new product. They also are proposing a new light, and that was in the application, the COA application. There was a picture of the light included. That light meets the historic district guidelines. We don't know, unless Kyle knows, exactly where the light's going to be installed or how many of them. Do we know that?
I believe it was 3 lights, and they were to be one above the first window, one above the door, and then one above the other window.
Okay.
So, and I think it was kind of along that upper band.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, we do know that then. So the finding of fact is the storefront wood is deteriorated, and the proposed material looks like it would be a reasonable substitute for that. Only the storefront materials will change. The color, design, and moldings would remain the same. The proposed lighting meets the historic district guidelines. The proposed composite material is paintable, smooth finish, and non-vinyl. So the recommended motions would be for the storefront material, approval with condition of smooth finish, because it does come with a textured finish. The smooth would be better. And secondly, for the light, approval with condition of staff approval of location, but we know what that is. So I would just say approval of the lights that are proposed.
Any other questions?
Just ask you if what would the alternatives be if for them to maybe decide to put a brick knee wall in, or what would be the better thing to do? It seems like it's kind of an awkward situation one way or the other. So just replacing it with a more durable kind of wood seems like the best solution for them, and maybe it keeps it looking the way it is, which isn't great to begin with.
Did you look at the original?
Yeah.
We do have historic photo, or do we not, Kyle?
No.
I don't. Okay. Couldn't remember what we had for this one. So-
Years and years ago, it used to just be plain wood. And then I can't remember the people's names that owned it when they put this wood up. But they never came for approval before the board when they did this. And it was allowed to just be kept the way it was, which we all know is not always right. But
Yeah, I would assume that a lot of storefronts like that it would have originally been brick with maybe a limestone sill or something with the
no,
but you think it
was just wood.
Oh, and I'm thinking
but not like
100
this.
years ago, maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm not quite
just the
that old.
original building. Yeah, really. Yeah, but obviously that would be demanding too much for someone to have to put in a far more expensive material.
So this would
Maybe the best option.
approve the look of it, I would think.
Yeah.
Because they didn't come up with the color they're going to paint, did they?
No, I mean, from whenever we originally approved it, it was the approval of the lighting was staff's approval, which is what we kind of did. And then you guys denied the storefront and asked for them to come back, so they came back. As well as, I guess, one of kind of the conditions was figuring out the material, which we have figured out, and then color and design, which we still don't really know what color. I think ideally we would want it to be painted. I don't know what colors.
Their application said the color wouldn't change, so I don't
So
know
it's-
what that means, because it doesn't have.
So it's gonna be faded out dirt brown?
I don't know. I don't know if they mean like the color of the trim up above. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying by that, but I think we had some discussion last time about those medallions, whether those needed to be there or not. And I think they could certainly go away. But I think the owner was talking like keeping that look. I don't know.
Can we have a recommendation or paint color, so we don't come driving downtown one day and find it to be pink or red or,
Can painting be subject to staff approval? Review?
Yeah,
That may be the
Yeah.
best.
yeah, because as long as they pick a color from the, a pre-approved palette, it can be approved by staff anyway. So I think that would be good to put that in there to be sure that they don't paint it bright pink or whatever.
Would we recommend that they, or just make the recommendation that they not put the medallions back?
I think you could ask for that. I'm sure they're not original, so
oh, no, they're
Right.
not.
I don't see any reason why they need to be on there. It's not an asset to the building.
No.
No. Okay, Dan, go ahead.
I'd make that motion. As approved by staff, with painting subject to staff approval, qualification, and with the expectation of removing the medallions as recommended.
And
Does that cover everything?
do we have a second, Larry?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And now we will move down to our maintenance review.
Okay, do you want me to go through each of them or, because the only one I think that probably needs to be addressed is the last one. In terms of the maintenance reviews.
Is that all right with everyone?
Yes.
Yes, short and sweet.
For sure.
Okay.
Don't tell Kyle that because he's tall. I'm sorry.
Can you remind us what that building looks like, what we're looking at?
Yes, so this one is 921 East Michigan Boulevard. They came in front of, I guess, me and Deb in regards to paint colors. So the paint colors that they asked for are all on the staff approved paint palette. Rookwood blue green for the door, polished mahogany, classic white, and classic yellow. With the condition that the LP smart siding around the windows and the body of the house was to not be painted until a decision was made by the board, which was something that was to be decided in January due to unforeseen circumstances. But this is something, Deb, you don't know quite about because you haven't been in Michigan City in a few days. But they have decided to paint the entire house, including the LP siding.
Indeed.
They have. So I asked for you guys to, I guess, kind of deny it until the January meeting because they've gone against the conditions of staff as well as the guidelines and, in theory, the board.
And it's a variation from their application.
Yes, because because the condition was that they were not to paint that siding until you guys made a decision on if the LP siding would even be allowed due to differences in texture. It's a kind of like how you guys had with the wood. It has that faux grain, something very similar to that, as well as the profile and size of it does not match. So, prior to it being painted, it was very noticeable as to being different.
Is it being used in combination with other siding?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, with with the kind of original smooth siding.
oh.
Yes,
That's disappointing.
it's very disappointing, actually.
So what's the issue?
So the issue is that they were going to come in front of you guys to ask for the approval of this new LP siding to kind of be put around some of the windows, and the walls, which, when they originally removed the, aluminum siding, there was portions of the house that, didn't have any siding. So they decided then to fill it in, with this alternative material. And so that's kind of where we're at is, it's, I mean, due to it differing from what was historically there, staff just felt that it was something that needed to go in front of you guys as to, because it deviated kind of from what the original approval was. For this was, replace kind of the wood siding, that had been previously missing. And they kind of went against that with this new material.
Is the color of the siding anything that is in the group of
The-
colors that were?
No, it was almost like an aquamarine. I mean, it was a very bluish green in terms of the siding. And I think after they removed it, it was kind of a white color that was discovered beneath it.
And what is the color of the new material they put up?
Before it was painted, it was, I think it was a white color.
Oh, but they painted it the aquamarine that you're talking about?
No, they painted it the Rookwood blue green, which is on so the color is approved, but it's the material that
Yeah, okay.
is something that needed to go in front of you guys.
So could you run down what are the colors and where are they going? Did they submit a rendering or anything showing these 4 colors?
No, they listed in an email. So
So what-
the paint colors, the paint colors for the siding was the Sherwin-Williams 2811 Rookwood blue greens. The door was to be painted Sherwin-Williams 38 polished mahogany.
Oh, excellent.
The trim was to be painted Sherwin-Williams 2829 classic white, and the porch elements, soffits, fascia, and gable in Sherwin-Williams 2865 classic yellow.
Well, let's hope there's some mitigating factors in that. We'll find that they maybe couldn't get the siding in the same profile.
Well, I mean, before they painted, me and Deb did a site visit just to check on the work, and some of the replacement pieces of wood matched. So there's
Right. In the second floor, they had pieced in a bunch of pieces of wood siding, which is what you guys approved originally, was anywhere where siding was missing, they were supposed to put in wood to match the original siding. And they had done that on the second floor. But on the first floor, on the sort of southish side, I guess, towards the railroad tracks, they had done that whole back side, the side towards the rear, is all this LP Smart side, which was not approved at all. They just put it up. And there's no way they will ever get new siding to match the original. It doesn't come that narrow. It doesn't happen. Honestly, they'd have to put up vinyl if they wanted to match it for width. It's the only thing you could get that with. So it just can't, but it looks ridiculous because the reveal is so much wider than the wood that's on there. I don't know why they decided to switch, but they didn't. So we know wood's available because they actually use some.
That's supposed to be, motion to do behind the.
Your microphone, Dan.
Put your microphone on, Dan.
Oh, motion to deny the application, they can come back and refile.
But we need to include text in there about correcting the inappropriate materials.
Yeah, it's a material question.
So you're going to ask them to remove the siding now?
Well, I'm gonna send them a denial letter in terms of pretty much Well, that's the thing. I don't necessarily know what we can do until a decision is made about the LP siting.
But it's already done.
Yeah, it's already done, but I mean, if you guys at the January meeting, when that portion of the petition goes in front and you were to either approve or deny, they would kind of be forced to either keep the new siting or to remove it.
The only thing before us right now is their application that they're trying to vary, so we're just denying that application and.
Okay, so we deny this application and then they come back in January with one about the materials that are inappropriate.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So the paint colors and everything, Larry, are okay because they are on the list. What they've done is they did, like Deb said, the second story correct. But when they got to the bottom, they didn't. If you drive by, you can
Yeah,
see it's
I will drive by.
it's quite noticeable.
And to be clear, it's visible from the street.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same.
Deb, I have a question. So
Sure.
the four colors are approved, but how do we not have any say in where they go?
Oh, you could, yeah.
Because I mean, I think that's just as important where a color goes as what the color is.
You can definitely have say over that, yes.
So it would be good if they could submit some kind of a crude sketch or a rendering or an elevation that's colored, that shows what it's going to look like. I would assume that they would do that just for their own edification, that they're making the right choice. So if they've done something like that, then I think we would like to see it too.
It would be really interesting to see since there's four colors.
I know, that's what concerns me.
There should be three colors. Maybe they just wanted to have four colors to have this.
Well, I'm thinking every
The
roll
blue
will
and
be
yellow.
different. Sorry,
Well,
Great.
but I think that they
well,
should.
as Deb and Kyle work with them through the next month, you can relay that information to them that if they don't submit something appropriate, we'll possibly deny it again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I picture it in my mind, this sounds like a nice combination, but I have not seen the house yet. I will do a drive-by and take a look and see if I can picture what these colors look like on the house. It sounds like it might be okay, but
I
I think
mean,
we should see it.
when I was driving by the gable was not quite the yellow that it was actually the Rookwood blue green.
Mhm.
At least the part that didn't have the aluminum siding still.
Mm.
So I don't know if their intent was to keep it all the blue green or if their goal is to come back and then repaint it.
Mm.
Well, it sounds like, Kyle, if you could relate that to them, I think Larry has a very good reason. Otherwise, I'm visualizing. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and the rest of, does anyone have any questions about A through D?
No, those were straightforward. They were straightforward.
Right, I agree.
Okay. Any committee reports?
No.
Oh, tabled business.
No.
Okay, and then we see under new business, board elections.
So I don't know if we want to elect right now or if we want to wait until January because there's probably going to be some shifts in the board coming up.
Can I interrupt for a second? I think Mick's here to talk about the 920 door.
Yeah.
Right?
I can.
Okay, so we've covered that COA. Should we? Yeah, just say
I mean,
some
if
time.
you want to say some stuff kind of about the door, we've already made the approvals, but
Yeah, I just spoke to them.
oh, you
Okay,
did?
cool.
Okay.
I saw them on So, I mean, you know, the door's gonna be, just think at the back, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And state your name, please.
Hi, Mick Wells with McKinley Design and Development. So, you know, I was brought in recently to assess the condition of the door. You know, as it stands right now, to be able to keep that door, I think is not the best course. So our intent would be to refabricate that door to the exact specifications that it is right now. The door, the frame. We will try to retain some of the existing hardware, but we can fabricate that exactly as it stands right now.
Is it stainless steel?
It is stainless steel.
Mhm.
Yes. There is a bit of, so the core of the door, the interior, there is a bit of steel structure there. And that at the bottom edge, the bottom flange, is what is starting to deteriorate. And that's why the thing is getting a little spongy there at the bottom, if you've looked. And that's why to keep this door and try and bring it back to its original state would be probably 3 times the amount of work of just fabricating this to match the existing door.
And then I assume you have the ability then to mount it in a new frame so it'll be properly weather sealed and gasketed and all of that.
Correct. So we would also fabricate a new stainless steel frame, and the bracketing that goes along with that. The current one is out of square, and that's why that kind of tensioner cable, the corner to corner tensioner cable, is in existence because the current door was getting a bit out of square just over these years, and because of the deterioration of the inner structure, as well as I have to assume the steel structure that's actually holding the frame also needs to be redone prior to installing the new door. So, you know, that's kind of part of our scope as well.
Mick, one of the things that would be good is if the door can get some insulation and maybe double glazing. I mean, that starts to push the envelope for keeping it like the existing. But I think the owners have said they're making an effort to try and insulate and I'm not sure they can meet today's standards, but there probably was no insulation anywhere in the building to start with.
Correct. So, you know, I'll leave that to the commission. You know, we can insulate the interior of the door. I'm not sure. I feel we've done a lot of energy modeling. So we have experience with this. I believe that, you know, the gasketing is more important than insulating the actual door. You know, they do have that center window piece. You know, it was our intention when we manufactured the new door to either do a tempered or more likely a clear laminate as a safety for that. I mean, they replaced it many eons ago with a piece of plexiglass, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, when we do historic and we have a 1/4-inch piece of glass, anything that is within, you know, this height has to be safety glass, so to conform with current code. So a lot of times we will just do like a clear laminate if it has to be 1/4-inch. It is possible that we could do like a double pane with a low E insulation. Again, given the amount that door will be open and closed, I think that the gasketing and the fit around the door is more important than the insulation of the door. But we're happy to insulate the door, and then you know, some decision between your commission and the owners, if you guys, you know, elect to go, we can easily do a double pane window. The door thickness is not particularly thick. Usually when we do a double pane, it would be like 7/8. I think the smallest thickness of double pane we could do might be about 5/8 or 1/2 inch, which, if you look at the door and the opening around the window, there's a nice reveal with just a single pane. It would minimize that reveal if we did a double paned window. So, you know, that again, that would be between you and the owners.
Deb, do you have any questions for Mr. Wells?
No, we talked, he was on the call with us last week when we were talking, and it sounds like he's thoroughly understanding what we were looking for and replicating the current look. So it sounded fine to me. I mean, I would agree with him. I think the gasketing is the big thing because there's going to be a lot of opening and closing, and that's where you're going to have a lot of heat loss. So I'd like to maintain the profile that's there as much as we can. And that door is a really defining feature. So getting that as accurate as possible, I think is really key to this project.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for Mr. Well?
Yeah, do you have any concerns about when you make a steel door like that, and people will be going in and out of it a lot, of it getting dented? Or is the steel like laminated to a hard core so that it can't dent?
We do create an interior structural frame, and the members are close enough in between. Also, the thickness of the laminate or the sheet that we use on top, we tend to go pretty heavy. So, and again, even doing some amount of interior insulation will help that, just so that it's got a little bit of a backer. So it's pretty much a non-issue when it comes to denting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And Deb, you feel very strongly about this in spite of the fact that there's a lot of compromises about this being an historic building because of the fact that it's really not possible with a reasonable budget to make it look exactly like it looked before. So something
I feel we're losing everything here, material wise, all gone. So like the only thing that's left is the door pretty much, and that even has to be rebuilt. And I understand that. I mean, I've been on site, I've seen everything. I know the metal's bad. I know we've got issues. I know a car drove through it. And I know the door's out of whack, you know, it's deteriorating. I get that. So, but the door, like when you look at it, you know, that's center front. So keeping that profile and being able to reuse some of the elements that are there, I think those are important, and not changing the profile if we can possibly avoid that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Even something as symbolic as reusing the door handle would be a nice feature.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, it is my intention to remove the hardware and reuse that. And even there was a rear door that was removed and set aside, so I may be able to use some of the hardware from that as well. I mean, it's nice brass hardware. We can reuse that hardware.
Thank you. We appreciate your coming tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks again. Okay. I agree with Kyle because when we talked about elections, because hopefully we will have new people appointed, because as everyone knows, Gigi's leaving us, going back to her home in Chicago. So we will miss her. And I know that we need 4 appointments.
Well, plus we're
And
probably
replacing
gonna
me.
lose Greg too.
What?
You knew that.
Well, I thought you were joking.
Be
but-
liaison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see anybody fighting me for it.
No,
You're losing a voting member though. Yeah.
correct.
Do you want me to? I'm sorry.
But
But I just think it makes more sense.
I just wanted to have it on the agenda.
Well,
Okay.
right, and we need to include the new people, I think, so.
And I hope the mayor has some ideas in mind, you know. Well, I hope the mayor has some ideas in mind. I did make one recommendation too, but I should think you know, she may have been thinking about this, and you think also of the benefit there could be if there were more people actually from the community who wanted to serve.
Well, and Kyle has recommendations too that we have made that he will take to her, so we're good with that.
So are you still looking for people or? Are you-
Yes, I am. I mean, because kind of how the ordinance is set up, that we need one architect on this board. We also need
Licensed
a
contact.
licensed contractor. We need someone from the redevelopment commission, which we have. We need someone from the plan commission, which we already have. So,
So we don't have a licensed contractor, right?
well, technically we have,
Technically I am, but technically we do need someone else.
yeah, we should probably have someone who either does some kind of woodworking or something in terms of either works in the historic district or understands
Mhm.
how to work in the historic district.
Okay. And what else then are you looking for?
That's really that, and then an architect,
And
And
with
we-
all of that, it's people who are residents of Michigan City.
as well as, yeah, residents in Michigan City.
And we do have a recommendation for an architect
Yeah, yes.
from Gigi, so,
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
Any other questions concerning board members? Okay,
If the problem that we're solving right now is figuring out a slate, though, are you and Dan still interested in president and vice president?
that's fine.
And then I've always thought that Larry would be a good secretary.
That sounds wonderful to me. How do you feel about that, Larry?
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. If we get somebody brand new on the board and everyone says no, then what do? It goes on Kyle's lap, but
Yeah.
when I call for a question. Or are you going to nurture him, Greg?
No. Yeah, I would give it my templates. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. One of the things though is that you need to be pretty detail oriented and understand that it's a you want to take over?
I mean, I can't. I mean, it's one of those things is this board as well as the Board of Zoning Appeals are the only two boards that if there was to be a dispute in terms of what we decide, it doesn't go to city council, it goes straight to the court system. So it's one of those things is your minutes are going to be one of the first things that are going to be read if we were to go to court. That's just a fair warning. So yeah, I mean, there has to be some level of detail to make sure that, what is being read, is kind of what was said.
And we can't get an official court reporter.
We could, but we have to find the funds for that.
Yeah.
And
They've
that's
never been able to do that. They've tried and tried.
correct.
I mean, I think there's two boards that are the only two boards that get no income at all. All the other boards in Michigan City get some type of stipend for coming.
And that has to do with the state. The state says that we can't, that historic preservation in terms of the boards cannot be paid.
And I think the tree board, I thought, couldn't be paid. There's two of them I know. When I first came on this board, we were paid. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So something with the state changed.
Mhm.
But Larry, if you'd think about it, we would appreciate.
I will. I'll think about it.
Thank
We also have other members who aren't here as well, who,
Right,
could provide,
may or may not. Okay.
yeah, may or may.
May or may not.
Yeah.
I think she would stab us for saying that.
Well-
But yeah, may or may not. Yeah.
Yeah, Amy would probably kill Greg.
I know, well, she'd kill me too.
Well, you'd be second.
It would be a rampage. Yeah. So I'll motion to table the board elections until next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Okay. COA application for 2024.
Well, I'll second his motion if you want
Oh,
to
I'm sorry.
complete that.
Thank you. Maybe you should be. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Now, everyone, I'm assuming, got a copy of the proposal that Mr. Kyle sent for the C of A's. Is there anything you want to point out to us?
So I mean, this is the most updated. I know we didn't, I don't think we voted on it last year. I just wanted to give you guys the updates of the dates. The only date that I think is probably going to be problematic was, let me see, the May 27th date. Just because I know it falls on a holiday. I don't remember what holiday it falls on.
It's Memorial Day. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if we want to have that changed. I mean, we
Well,
can.
Yes.
I think we should because we're going to anyway. I
Okay,
mean,
so you want me to move it to the week prior?
I think so, don't you? Yeah, I think that would be helpful because nobody would want to come.
So it'd be the 20th then?
Yeah. I think the 20th.
Yes.
20th,
Okay.
okay.
So, and then I think the other thing is, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with approving, I guess, approving as submitted, with the exception of the May 20th. But the other thing is that kind of me and Deb have talked about and we're waiting on. So the city's doing a study on our fee structure for the city for permits and such. And me and Deb and Skylar have talked about potentially looking at starting to charge for COAs. As of, I think, today, we have had 105 COAs for the year, with, I think, 57 or 58 of those being staff approved. So I think it's time that we recoup some of those costs. So we're kind of waiting on the study to come back to figure out how much maybe we should be charging to be kind of in line with South Bend and some other communities that Deb is a part of, to make sure that it's something a little bit more fair on both Deb's and my time as well as your guys' time to try to recoup some of that costs for staff's time, as well as maybe using some of those funds to help with potential projects that we would like to do. So I guess other than that, then I guess kind of waiting for that fee structure, for that fee study to come back either in January or February. I don't know exactly when that's to come back. Other than that, I think pretty much that's, I think the kind of the 2024 COA application with the update on for the May 20th commission date, I think is kind of ready for approval.
Okay, any other questions concerning the C of A? Okay, Deb, preservation plan?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have any feedback, thoughts on this, if you want to move forward with it. We need funding if we want to do that, but I think there's a number of possibilities there. So yeah, I think we need to decide whether we want to move forward or not. And then we can pursue some funding for it. And if you want to do it all phases, soon, or if you just want to do one phase now and maybe another one next year, what you're thinking, or if you want to wait a while. And
they all seem to be good projects to pursue. So if we've made the approval from us as a commission and the recommendation to the city council, then they would take it up in January or whenever they get it on the agenda to approve the financing for it. And then be kind of up to the council to approve all or some or in phases, I guess.
An alternative to that might be using Indiana Landmarks Historic Preservation Education Grant money for phase one, and then coming up with something that is exciting to turn into the council.
Or
That
to
could generate-
or the redevelopment commission, because they were the ones who funded previous
Thank you,
work.
Kyle. Yeah. But using that first phase and approving that and turning that into what we would take to get further funding.
So the recommendation is just for us to approve only the first phase?
Yeah, which is conducting basic field survey, identify potential significant natural register eligible districts, seek input for preservation goals, and develop initial base of preservation opportunities. So I think this is a good study, figure out where things are and where they could be, and then bring in some of those other key players.
You said there's some grant money available?
Yeah.
It might require a match.
Yeah, it does require
If
a
you're
match.
asking the historic the redevelopment for $1,000, that's a lot different than
Yeah.
yeah.
So Dan's making a motion
You know,
for what Greg
I'll make
said.
a motion to approve phase one, for the commission to approve phase one and then present it on recommendation to city council. Do we need to do that? It's not an ordinance change, is it? And if we don't need financing, then it doesn't go to the council, right?
Yeah, it would just be the redevelopment commission.
Mhm.
Or whatever phase one finds out. If we
Yeah.
get to the end of phase one and we decide that everything's perfect and we're done, then everything's perfect and we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Greg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Okay,
Thanks.
we're back to update on getting the word out about the historic districts.
I can hand out stuff for that. One sec. Okay, I'll hand this out and then finish a note. Thank you. That'd be great. You're already getting better at being a secretary. This is fantastic. Yeah, both pages.
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Thank you.
Oh, this is good. Did you do this, Greg?
Yeah. On campus, yeah. So one of my initial thoughts though is that with the incoming mayor, she is going to actually have PR.
Oh,
It's gonna change everything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be somebody in charge of talking to the community. So I don't know if that changes our plans with putting this out because
I don't think so, because everybody's not going to hear that person. So if we have two things, that's much better than what we've had. Thank you for this. This is great.
So this would go out as a card, like a postcard or something that is sent.
yeah,
You
I
do back to back.
originally printed these and then had to rush to this meeting a month ago, but I could have spent the last month clipping these down. But yeah, it'll get down like that.
They go right.
And how were we getting them? Are they getting stuck in the water bills?
The water bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the original
But
plan.
they're this size, so it just fits one piece into the
Yeah.
envelope.
And it's a slightly heavier piece of paper than it.
It doesn't have to be heavy.
It won't be heavy.
It should
That
be
costs
like,
more money.
it should be a card stock. You don't want just.
That's what I meant. Yeah, something like that. Just
Yeah.
I don't
so it
know
would be
if
noticed.
they will let us do a card stock, but I can ask. I know,
Oh, in the bill.
yeah, because
Yeah.
what you get in the bill is just,
Yeah, no, but I was thinking more of like, in
It's a handout.
applications,
Yes.
you have like a little holder that has the card sticking in it.
and the library might even
The
let us do
library
that.
upstairs at that information desk. Various other, like maybe realtors' offices.
I think that's
That kind
the
of-
main.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, main one. I know everybody hasn't got a chance to read all this, but it looks
No, I just read it. It's good.
really nice, and I thank Greg for his work on that.
Thank you.
I will ask the water department if it just is on a piece of paper. I'll try tomorrow to put it on just one piece of paper. you know, and have it for them to see and see if we can get approval for that.
And if we can find out what size the mailing is it 2,000 pieces, 500 pieces?
Yeah, and we'll ask that too. So, okay, that'll be my homework.
In
Thank
terms
you.
of the colors, Greg, did you intend for this to be a different color?
Where
It looks
did
like
I get
it's
those
slightly
colors?
is.
I think I borrowed those colors off of Beacon.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, and that just kind of matched from that. Sorry, I interrupted you.
no, I just didn't know. Do we want to distinguish color wise the two districts there? Because it looks like one large district, which you
Well,
kind of
it's
listed as three.
Actual, yeah, I mean, it looks like two and it might be three.
The tan is
it's
barely
so-
visible. Yeah, for a long
Because yeah, I mean, it's looking like the Wabash and Franklin are almost matching up, but but there's definitely supposed to be two districts. It's just the Elson one is more clear.
So
I could exaggerate that if we want to.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
or-
can you do that?
Yeah,
And I can.
I don't know how much you can.
Or just draw a line down the middle between Wabash and.
Yeah. I have time for that in January.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to make it that long. Yeah.
We're encouraging you.
Thank you. Yeah. I would be more than happy to play with it a bit.
When you
I'll take
do,
the
let me
color.
know, but I'll still find out what we can and cannot do. And then I'll let Kyle, our representative, know.
And on the bottom of this one, it still references Historic Review Board.
That's the URL.
Where are you pointing? Oh, at the
I
bottom?
would have copied and pasted that. I remember the last time I typed a URL. Yeah. I don't know if that's something we can fix. I don't know if that's good.
Wouldn't you have to fix that on the computer?
I guess,
They'd have to change it there, but that's part of what we've talked about
Yeah.
time to time to get all that updated on all the web page sites.
yeah, I can talk with yeah, I'll talk with them and see if
The
that
web
can
design?
be changed.
There's a webmaster, someone that has access.
Yeah, there is a webmaster or there's IT. I can see what can be done about that.
Okay, then I'll talk to you when I find out what the water department says. All right. Thank you. Okay, and then we're down to E.
You're moving right along.
The ordinance, I received them from Deb a month or so ago. I have not worked on them yet, but I'm busy time of year, so we'll have something in January.
Okay. That's part of that phase one, it sounds like.
What?
It sounds like that could be part of phase one.
Yeah. Well, this is the ordinance for penalties and so forth for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good start, though.
Yes.
Okay. And then we're going to go to F.
Right, certified local government. Thank you all that have sent me your resumes. Good job. I appreciate that. I have them now from Amy, Greg, Joyce, Larry, Gigi. As far as I know, I do not have one from Dan or Dwayne or Jonas, unless I've missed them somewhere in my emails.
As far as I know, that's correct.
Okay, good.
We have
So
one
would appreciate getting those.
We have one council member admitting it, and the other two I'll find out for you. One I will say you probably never get, but that's all right.
I haven't
That's
I've
quite
used the resume in 20 years.
So would appreciate getting those. Most of the rest of it I looked through this afternoon, and it's just pretty much a matter of documents that already exist, a couple things that Kyle and I need to pull together. Some of it will actually be solved by the preservation plan, I think. So that will answer a few questions. I think one that I was wondering about, and maybe this is a Kyle question, I don't know. You need a rules of procedure, which I think somewhere we have those, but it says including a binding code of conduct. And we need to submit a copy of that code to the state. Is there a code of conduct
I'll have to look
citywide?
I'll have to look in to see. I believe there is citywide, but I don't know if there's anything to do with the commission or commissions. I'll look into that.
Okay, that would be good. That was one I had no idea whether that was something that existed or not, but I feel like most of the rest of it we can pull together most of that, so we can review this again in January.
And if there's a
And I'll try to
citywide
get-
one, we can adopt that for the commission.
Okay. So I think that's all I've got on that. I would also just mention that we might consider a planning meeting sometime early in the year whenever we have maybe a few more members again, if those get appointed early. Especially if we're thinking anything about, say, a workshop or any public event like that. I know LaPorte's discussing that as well. And you might consider joining with them since you're not real far apart and hosting something together. The organization in South Bend called TradeWorks, which is just a bunch of historic preservation people. Some are tradespeople and some are just people that own old houses. They're putting on a long series. I think there's 12 different sessions this year that they're doing different educational series on. And most any of those we could bring to LaPorte County. We just don't want to do them at the same time that they're doing them in St. Joe County. But I think we could have some really good stuff there. Besides windows, masonry, plaster, they're looking at, well, actually, LaPorte actually has one in February already scheduled for tax credits so that people that own properties in historic districts, especially if they're on the National Register, are aware of the state and federal tax credit opportunities and some of the grants and funding that's out there. So that's kind of a different one.
Do you
They've
have
got
an
one
idea
on
what kind of, do
contractor. Yeah.
you have an idea what kind of attendance they have, or had, or expect?
I don't know on that one, but LaPorte did a window one a little over a year ago. And then last February, I want to say they did one on masonry. And each of those had about 35 people at them.
So we need a venue that could hold enough
Yeah.
attendees,
Right.
materials, or whatever.
Probably something for at least 50 people counting the board.
Probably, yes.
The masonry workshop was really fun because it was at Anna Weissman's house, the Brumley Mansion. So we got to see the masonry guy like go to work on her basement. It was kind of cool. But I mean, they fit us into her parlor or living room. I mean, these old houses have
Big.
6 of one and half of the other. But small, yeah. So you just have to fit in and you have to be able to hear a person talk. So we don't need to like rent out this room or something.
No, some of those hands-on one, if you can find a house, like doing it there at Anna's was so good because we could actually see him doing the work, not just talking about it. And he was kind of entertaining anyway. So it was a really good opportunity. But you know, maybe there is somebody somewhere. There's lots of houses in the historic district. So just a thought.
See if anyone wants to volunteer their house to promote it, or I don't know if they do free services or something.
If it was for cleaning, I would donate mine, but I'm not in the historic district.
Yeah.
Just something to be thinking about. Maybe we can talk about it more in January or February.
I think you're right, Deb, when we get everybody here so that we're all on the same track, I think would help.
Okay.
Thank you.
One thing that I would encourage the board to do with 4 new members is to do some serious orientation.
So you know what you're doing and what you're volunteering for?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be good. Yeah. And just, I mean, some people just need to be sat down and hands held to go through the ordinance because they're not going to do it on their own.
Well, even making sure they give them the link to that site where the guidelines are on the Michigan City.
Something
website.
just that
Yeah,
easy.
something-
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
It doesn't have to be a totally involved orientation, but I would encourage
Yeah.
more than I had. Yeah. When I came on by myself.
Yeah.
I had to research everything. And
Yes.
I think more than any of us have had, which would be good. And I should have known that. But thank you once again.
We're an
Mr. Coulter.
industrious group. Yeah, trial by fire.
Yes,
We're good.
yes.
But we're a lot improved from
Oh, yes.
past times.
I would ask for public comment, but Drew looks like he's ready to go home, so we'll go off of that.
And I would ask Deb, just for the record, for recording or public reference, what's the benefit of the certified local government that we're talking about? Just in a couple sentences, explain some of the benefit to the community and.
Sure. Probably the number one benefit is that it opens the door for more grant opportunities. There's a particular one that there's specific funds set aside by the National Park Service to go to communities that are certified local governments. So they get extra money, they get they get more money than you would if you
And it's a
weren't.
priority.
That's a priority. And it's also a better match. You don't have to put up as much money of your own to get that money. So that's probably the number one advantage to that. It also gives you an opportunity to review any National Register nominations that come along. And probably another really important thing is any Section 106 reviews. So anytime federal funding is used on a project, it allows you guys to assess the impact and speak to that. So sometimes, a project comes along, they want to widen a road, it's going to suddenly put the edge of the road in somebody's front yard, 6 feet from the front door. This actually happened in Elkhart County, actually, where the road was widened and it got close to the door, and they came back and said, I'm sorry, this is too close, it makes it unlivable for these people. And they actually moved the road because of that review. So it's nice to have that voice.
It's a
Other
financial.
people, yeah, it's financial. And I will say on that Section 106, other people do that review. Somewhere like Indiana Landmarks gets flooded with 106 reviews. But it's really good when you guys can do that because you're local and you really understand the impact better than those of us that visit town periodically.
So it's a good benefit for the community.
Kind of like with the South Shore. I don't think you guys had I don't think you had much input in terms of
No.
any of that decision making. And if you were a CLG, you would have
Yeah, we
a
had no.
much greater voice at the table.
Right.
Now that you brought that up, another thing we had nothing to do with, although it's in our district, is to remove the globes from all the streetlights. You had no voice in that at all.
So to clarify, we would do our own Section 106. Like Kyle and you would be doing the Section 106 things here.
So if there was a Section 106, yeah, it would come before the commission, actually, and you would review it, and then we'd write a letter as a response to that.
So that's not too much more time for the commissioners. Is that significantly more time for the staff?
You see that smile?
Probably the biggest thing for staff is every other year you have to fill out a report and say what all you've done. We have to keep track of how many COAs there are and how many were approved and how many were approved with conditions, how many were denied, stuff like that.
You kind of do that now, don't you?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet. Okay.
Okay, so that's a long afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got to fit that into Indiana Landmark contract, Deb.
Yeah, it's not much different for me, honestly, except I do help some of the communities that need help with filling out that CLG report, although Kyle's got lots of experience, so he would get that. That wouldn't be a problem here, but together we can whack it out. It's not too hard.
Can you walk me through the normal process of a Section 106? If I'm saying that right. We've said other words since then.
Yeah, they usually send out a letter initially that explains a project that's coming. They'll show a map that shows where the project is and then a certain radius around that, which they call the area of potential effects. They identify any historic properties within that, either ones that are already listed on the National Register, ones they believe are are eligible for listing. And then you review the impact on those. So it's asking you, you don't, well, yeah, you do. You have to respond to that. So it's just looking at it and saying, yes, this is a problem. And if it is, if you realize that it's going to have a negative impact, then also suggesting some kind of mitigation for that, or just flat out say this shouldn't happen. Doesn't mean they always listen to you, but it gives you that opportunity to have a voice.
Any other questions? Any staff comments that you haven't already said or showed your emotional faces?
I guess my only comment is like, thank you guys for being patient with me and Deb. This has been a long year in terms of COAs, and a lot of I think we've made a lot of progress as a board in terms of moving past the dark days of the past. And I think we're moving in the right direction as a board in terms of shaking off, I think, a lot of the misinterpretations of what historic preservation and what this board means. And I think we're moving in a positive direction, and I think you guys should be proud of all the hard work you put in this year.
Well, thank you, but we thank you for all the hard work you put in for us. So,
Over 100 COAs, yeah.
yeah, we appreciate
Good work.
that. And when a person calls for one question and it ends up for three,
It's no different than I'm used to.
but I thank you. You're always very kind. Anyone else have any comments?
Thank you, Kyle, and Deb. Thank you both.
Yeah,
Welcome.
we'd be lost.
Yes.
I would be lost for sure. And I appreciate all of you sitting here, and we are going to miss Gigi, and hopefully she'll have a party sometime and invite us over, so.
Oh, great.
But not a cleaning party.
No, that would be my house. Moving party, maybe.
There we go. Yeah. I just wanted to thank the board and staff and everybody for a wonderful year and a half on the Historic Preservation Commission. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to, I can't imagine anybody's going to fight me to be the liaison for this. So I'm looking forward to that.
If they do give us their name.
I'll take them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
We look forward to you.
And we know you will.
Back that way, even if you can't vote,
Yeah,
but come and represent us to the council, and
yeah, it's nice.
so we have some good representation
important it
for the
is.
good of the community, the city.
Oh, yes,
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else have any comments?
We wish a Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy
Yes.
New Year,
Thank
safe
you.
travels, and stay warm, and
Yes, yes.
rejoice in the time of year.
All right. We'll adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone be safe going home.